He enlisted as a private and was rapidly promoted. In 1964, he attended the Officer Cadet School at Portsea and graduated at the rank of second lieutenant into the Corps of Australian Engineers. As a tunnel rat combat engineer, he served with distinction in Malaya, Kashmir, PNG and Vietnam. I guess that's one way to see the world. He went on to become Lieutenant Colonel in the Army Reserve. He then worked in senior management positions in the private sector until his second retirement. He has been consistently involved in raising the profile of his colleagues through his work with the RSL. One of the qualities of veterans that we celebrate in the Amiens History Association is the contribution they have made to building a better Australia after their military service. Returned soldiers from World War I battle the harsh realities of farming life on soldier settlements like Amiens in what has been referred to as their last battle. Their legacy is the creation of farming communities that prosper today. George is not a farmer, but he has contributed mightily to the Australian community after his military service, and so history repeats itself. Rather than provide a laundry list of George's achievements, something that would take some time, I propose to paint a picture of his character by examining detailed examples of his physical toughness, combat experience, innovative thinking, and as an advocate and champion of his fellow soldiers. Iron Man. Legendary 80-year-old completes grueling Ironman event after 16 hours. This is extract from newspapers. Epic scenes as 80-year-old George Hulse finishes 226 kilometres Asia Pacific Ironman event after a 16-hour day in Cairns in June 2023. What a legend. Give that bloke the biggest medal and a standing ovation at the presentation ceremony. Honestly, what a remarkable man. We were there in Cairns and we weren't on the lookout for George, but he was running to exhaustion. Okay, the Battle of Coral and Balmoral. On May 12, 1968, the largest battle involving Australian Defence Force members since World War II began. What started as a simple mission quickly escalated into one of the most dangerous and sustained battles of the Vietnam War. Units of the 1st Australian Task Force, 1RAR and 3RAR, found themselves surrounded by the North Vietnamese Regular Army in Ben Ha Province, triggering a series of actions between the 12th of May and the 6th of June. The fighting unfolded around fire support patrol bases, Coral and Balmoral, with both bases sustaining prolonged enemy attacks. 26 Australian lives were lost in the battle and more than 100 Australians were injured. Former President of the Geelong RSL sub-branch, Lieutenant Colonel George Hulse, OAM, was just 21 years old at the time, serving in the 1st Field Squadron. On the eve of the battle, he recalls landing in what was known as the Iron Triangle, an area controlled by the North Vietnamese. It was called the Iron Triangle by the Americans because they could never break into it. The North Vietnamese owned it, lock, stock and barrel. The Americans couldn't believe it when we landed, said George. When we interact with visitors at the Amiens Legacy Centre, we discuss the horrors of war that were experienced by returned World War I soldiers who later became farmers 3 generations ago. George and his fellow Vietnam vets had similar experiences in our generation, but at the time when military campaigns were not fashionable, we salute them for their courage in difficult times. Innovative thinking. On National Military Working Dog Day, we honour all war dog teams who have served in the Australian Defence Force. Military working dogs have played a role in Australia's armed forces since World War I, serving alongside defence personnel all over the world. Lieutenant Colonel George Hulse, OAM, specialised in training war dogs. He first encountered them while serving in Vietnam and went on to establish the Explosive Detection Dog Wing at Sydney School of Military Engineering, as well as the War Dogs Association.